back to my channel. This week we're doing DIY projects, and I'm excited because I've been collecting quite a bit of things from the flea markets that aren't quite right, that aren't quite there, kind of like the base of something that it could become, or a material that I can use to turn it into something else. I want to transform these pieces into the vision that I have for them for my home. Something that I look for a lot at flea markets and thrift stores are ornate frames. Either dark brown, the occasional like shabby chic white, or gold, like this, like kind of like gold leafed. I'll find frames like this, just the frame, nothing in it. I'll find frames that have art in it but isn't my style, or is really like aged in a bad way, like water damage, so it needs to be replaced. These two I found at different times, at different places, but they are identical. They're the same. So that's really great for me. But they're empty and they've been sitting in my closet, and I want to be able to enjoy them and hang them on the wall. Something else I'll find a lot at flea markets and thrift stores are art. Maybe had a bad frame to begin with, or is completely unframed. Like these two pieces I actually got at a flea market in Paris. So they're very precious to me, and I'd like to enjoy them, but they're very odd sized. And I go on trips to flea markets and I go on scavenger hunts trying to find frames that fit art I already have, and it's hard. So I have an idea that I want to test out to do this, and if this works, this is going to be a great hack for this issue that I come across a lot, not being able to find frames to fit the art I have. So these two pieces aren't the same size. One is larger, one's smaller. This is the size of the frame, and there's the size of this piece of art. So essentially the hack is to make my own linen mat, to make these two pieces of art look the same size and also fit the frame. For the structure of the mat, I'm actually gonna be using foam core board, because you can pick this up at the dollar store. It's essentially foam in the center. It's like a thick board. You can cut this really easily with an X-Acto knife as well. And I have these two different colors of linen. This one is a little bit thicker and cream. This one has a little bit of a lighter weight to it, caramely kind of brown color to it. I think both colors really work. I feel like the lighter linen is like more common. For me, anything lighter, like a lighter mat, is going to call more attention to the mat. Anything darker, like brown or black, is going to kind of disappear and not call your attention so much. So I'm leaning towards doing them brown. Since I want them the same, I have to measure from the smaller piece of art. I think 1 3/8 is the smallest dimension I can get it and still cover it really well. The mat has to be the same dimensions all the way around to look really polished. 18 by 14. To cut it, I use an X-Acto knife with a new blade, so it's really sharp. I have a mat that I use to cut all the way through something, but you can also use like cardboard, like a cardboard box that's broken down, just to give it padding so that you can cut. And a tip when using an X-Acto knife, if you want to cut a long straight cut, is to use your ruler to your advantage. So actually lay your ruler down right where you want to cut and hold it into place. It'll give something for your knife to cut against, and you can apply more pressure to cut all the way through like that too. If your X-Acto knife is not very sharp, you'll get a really jagged edge. You won't get like a clean cut like this. I'm going to be using this spray adhesive. When you're adhering fabric, it's always best to use a spray adhesive, because if you have a liquid adhesive, it will be too wet in certain areas and it'll actually like seep through or bleed through the linen fabric or the fabric that you're putting on there, and it won't ever really dry. You'll have like a really splotchy look to it. With a spray adhesive, it's a fine mist of an adhesive, just enough to get the fabric to stick really well, but not too much to saturate the paper or the fabric. And it's easier to work with. I'm trimming off the excess. The corners, I'm gonna cut out a square shape going into the corner of the mat. This will help eliminate like that excess around the corner. I'll make a hole in the center, and I'm gonna cut straight into the corner. Now I'm gonna work my way around the frame, just doing one side at a time, because I don't want the glue to start drying. Another great hack is to look at the thrift stores in like the curtain bedding section. You can often get a lot of material out of those for a relatively low cost. Even a velvet would work really well for this if you want more of a dramatic look. So finding like a dark green velvet or black, brown velvet would be really pretty, like a chocolatey brown. It doesn't really matter what the back of it looks like, because we're gonna completely cover the back of the art. So here's what it looks like just in the frame. Look how good that looks. Wait, I love that. And then with the art. What do we think? See how you don't really pay attention to the matte now? If it was lighter colored, you would. If you are questioning yourself and thinking, I need to go back and add a little more glue, don't do it. That is what I mean. The adhesive is too wet. It comes through the linen like that. So I have to make another one. I want to finish off the back of the painting really well. So I have this craft tape. It's kind of like craft shipping tape, honestly. You can get this and the craft paper in the shipping department supplies. I have some paper that I'm gonna use. With a combination of the tape and the paper, you can just make it look really, really finished. Sometimes I've had art that are shaped in a way on the back of them that when you walk by like the side profile, you can actually see some of the back of the frame. And if it's not finished out, it just doesn't look as polished. So I always like to take the time to like finish out the back of art that I'm kind of like building myself. I have been on the hunt for a tri-fold vanity mirror. Nothing too big like you would see on the top of a dresser in a bedroom, but kind of small, petite size that I could put on a dresser or in my bathroom specifically. And I love the look of ornate tri-fold mirrors like from old vanities, but I was having such a hard time finding it. And when I came across this one at the flea market, it was just the mirror portion and like the base of it, but it had no decorative elements, no ornateness to it. So I thought to myself, okay, if I can't find it, I'm gonna make it. I've been ordering some wooden decals and things that I can add to it and we can make it into the perfect vanity mirror for my bathroom. So the mirror was actually coming off of the backing when I bought it. It was just taped together. So I used some glass glue to repair it and then clamped it down and left it overnight so that it would stick really well and we could create the trifold again. Take off the clamps and make sure. Oh yeah. That Gorilla glue works really well. So now I can add some decorative pieces to it. I have all these wood applique pieces that I got. And also I've been wanting to try out this bendable trim. It's PVC, I'm sure, but it comes in different sizes, different patterns and stuff. And you can not only bend it this way, but you can bend it this way. And that's what I really needed to create this shape, this top shape that's more curved. So many projects that I need bendable trim for. And there's a brand that I've been seeing pop up called Would You Bend? And I want to try their product specifically. It just takes a little longer to come in. This is one that I'll leave linked. It's like a braided trim. And it has a sticky backing too. This might be sufficient to actually stick it to the glass. So before I stick or glue anything down, I want to design how I want it. So I really like this applique as the topper. I feel like that's gonna give it like the most like height and like it to go up like that. Really pretty. And then these feel more like corner pieces to me. Do I just want to do corner pieces down at the bottom to kind of anchor the mirror, like to make it feel like it has weight at the bottom? I only have 4, so I guess I don't have quite enough. I have some more of these, but these don't feel quite right as like corner pieces to me. These feel a little bit too scrolly. They don't really work here because that goes up like that. I also have these long ones that I was gonna use for a different project. I could also just leave it in the far corners and then just do this all the way around. I need to find a good transition between the edge and this. I'm gonna start cutting some of this stuff and start laying it out. I've got plenty of this, I think, to go all the way around for sure. I want all the corners though to meet properly. So I'm gonna use my trim cutter that is for wood, like small pieces of wood. I think that you can cut this with scissors though. Like I don't think that you need like a tool like this. This just helps me with like angles, 45-degree angle really easily, like this. Oh yeah, it's super soft. Like the scroll parts on the side of this one, and I have extra of these. I'm gonna go out and use my handsaw and get these curled pieces separated so that I can use them in a different way and buff out the edges with some sandpaper so that they're smooth. These look so good. Thinking maybe I can add more to this like top part to make it more ornate. Okay, I really like these top pieces here, so I'm gonna go ahead and glue them down. This is a trick that I used to do anytime I'm gluing with a stronger glue. Is I start off with the stronger one, like specifically this is for glass, but it doesn't dry very quickly. I add a few touches of hot glue, because the hot glue dries really quickly. It'll go ahead and set in place while the other glue gives it a stronger bond as it dries. That looks so good. It fills it out more. And now the braid can go up to that. Okay, let's see if the sticky backing on this is like enough. That would be amazing. That would be so easy to use and add a decorative element to something you have: frames, mirrors, furniture, walls, and it's paintable. Oh my gosh, that is really sticky. That's amazing. I think I like the two on the sides. Kind of like the heaviness is in the center up top, and then the heaviness is on the bottom on the sides. And then I can just put the braid going up and on the top. The tip is to always cut as you go so that you can get it like perfect. Look. Ignore that it's like white and brown, but it looks so good. It already looks like a completely different mirror. Next step is to layer it and rub and buff. I want to rub and buff all of it. So I have two colors. I have antique gold and I have gold leaf. I tend to like gold leaf better. I tend to gravitate towards it. It's a little brighter, but I may mix the two, and I also may do some glaze to make it darker and more shadowed parts. I tested a small piece of this PVC, putting the gold on, and it does work and it does stay, but you kind of have to cake it on. And some trim could do. I like can't believe this. I can't believe it's the same mirror. This is exactly what I wanted in my head. Look forward to seeing what she's got. She always has like fabrics and art and different like trinkets and knickknacks that are vintage, that are older. She had a box of fabric, one particular fabric that was blue floral, and I do have an obsession with blue, and I do have an obsession with florals. Combined, it was kind of the perfect fabric for me. She had two pieces, they're each a yard, and so I want to turn them into pillows, but I want to elevate it just a little bit. I want to give it some piping around the edge. I want to add ties instead of a zipper, add some more character and charm to the pillows. I've gotten to a phase in life where I do not get any more pillow inserts. I just have pillow covers. So every season I change out this particular pillow insert. I have two of them on our couch in our living room, and I change them out for the season. So this is one of my spring pillow covers, and I don't really have one for summer, and I love blue. And with a yard, I'm hoping that I can do the front and the back out of this same fabric. If I can't, I have like a linen, cream linen backing that I thought could also work as the backing. So I'm gonna use this pillow cover as our pattern and our template to cut the new fabric. So I'm gonna take it out, fold this in half and see if I have enough. Obviously, if I'm making a smaller pillow, I'd have enough, but I think I actually might. This is crazy. I was hoping. I'll have enough for both sides, and I'll have this entire bottom portion to make the border or piping around the pillow and also the ties. I'm gonna cut out the body of the pillow first, getting this pillow down to the fabric so that it doesn't start shifting on me. This is a pretty nice piece of fabric, and so I paid $10 for the yard, which I thought was pretty exceptional, because when I think about it, it's $10 for a pillow cover. In a really nice piece of fabric and a really pretty pattern. That's why I like looking at thrift stores too, because often you can get a really good quality fabric curtain for really cheap. Okay, I'm designing how I want the border around the pillow to be. I think it's called either a welt or a flange, probably a flange because I'm doing like a flat piece. So I feel like the bigger the flange, the more my style it looks, more character it has. I feel like when it's small or with no flange, like my other pillow was, it's more modern. So I'm thinking I want a kind of a nice piece, a nice sized piece. Not too big, but like an inch. Let's do an inch all the way around. So I'll need 1 inch up, 1 inch down to the shows, and then a 1/2 inch seam allowance. So I'll need 3 inches total. So I'm gonna make a pattern so it's easy to cut. This may have gotten a little more complicated really quickly because I needed it to be shaped the right way. Wait, I'll explain. I had to literally dust off my pattern making skills that I learned in college to think through this process. Essentially, I'm gonna be creating 4 sides. They need to connect together, so I need to sew them together. So I've got to cut the fabric accordingly so that when I fold it together, it's at an angle, I can stitch here, and the next side is gonna go down like the shape of the pillow, and it's gonna be a 45-degree angle. So I had to make the pattern, when it folds over, have that point. If anyone's attempting this, I will leave the exact dimensions on the screen because I thought it through. Now I need to cut 4 of these pieces for each pillow. I'm gonna start making that flange, that border. So I'm gonna sew 2 pieces together. Basically create a big box, sewing in the point portion of the fabric only. Thread is so thick. When it's sewn together, you turn it right side out, it makes a corner. So here's our flange. See, it's a square. So now we can sandwich this in between the front and the back of the pillow. Lay down back of the pillow first. So I'm pinning the flange raw edge to the raw edge of the back to keep it in place. I've always said, since I switched over from sewing like garments, like clothing, to home stuff, I've always said, oh, this is so much easier to sew. And it is, until you want to do complicated things, because most of the time in home decor you're dealing with like square shapes. You're doing pillows, you're doing sheets, you're doing curtains. They all have very simple shapes to them. You're not trying to form a body, so it is the flange much easier. But I haven't done something quite like this in a really long time. It's fun, but it's like I'm reactivating part of my brain I haven't used recently. Okay, let's see if that actually worked. You never know. I might need to trim some off on the corners on the inside so that it lays better. Oh God, it actually worked. It won't lay quite right. There's so much fabric in here, so if I trim some of that out on the inside, it'll lay better. There's our flange. So to make the tie for the closure of the pillow, I'm gonna cut a piece of fabric that's 1 inch wide. And this is where an iron comes in so handy because we're able to fold and iron down 1/4 inch pieces of this tie so that it can all fold in together so it has a nice clean edge. And then once it's ironed, I'm gonna be able to easily run it back through the machine and make like a small stitch along the edge. I'm just gonna tack these onto the inside of the pillow. But it's done, put the insert in. And I've successfully determined that you can do an entire pillow like this out of 1 yard of fabric. This much left.